Good evening.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, everybody.
Great. Hi, Brian. Rebecca. Beth.
Oops. Okay. Happened. Okay, there it is.
So DL, is that a popular saying in the geek world?
If you like your data, yes, it is.
So would you explain why that's the case?
RAID is redundancy. A backup is where you have 3 copies of your data, 2 or 3 copies of your data.
I hear the words when you say RAID is a redundancy.
Yes.
Explain.
It's multiple drives in an array for redundancy, so that if one of those drives dies, you have other drives that will take up the slack. That's not a backup.
Because it's all in one device, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
But could that be part of, like, if you had that plus other things,
Yes.
would that be the backup? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I thought the RAID system was a series of drives in a backup. In a rack, and that when one would fail, the next one would take its place. Anything to that?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. One drive, 1 or 2 or 3 drives might be for parity, meaning you can lose 1, 2, or 3 drives, and the array will stay up, and when you put in a fresh drive, it'll repair itself.
So what you're saying, it's useful, but don't consider it more than 1 out of 3 backups that are recommended.
Right. I would say if you want your data to be safe, it's essential. All your backup units should have RAIDs in them, so that if one of the drives dies, you'll still have your data intact. And when you put the new drive in, it'll repair itself. So you always have all those extra copies of your data.
You should have a saying like that each month, DL.
Maybe no.
Like a new version of tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Well, the reason that was up there is the reason I had that up there is because I was on a meeting with someone else who needs to learn this. So as soon as the meeting started, there it was.
I have 2. 2 backups. Hi, Dennis.
Hey, Rex.
Can you hear me way out there on the West Coast?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Dennis, the camera on your, I'm assuming you're using a laptop, really has a shallow depth of field. You're really blurred background there.
I didn't, the Zoom does that.
Say again?
Zoom does that.
Okay.
I turn it off.
Yeah, if you click the arrow next to stop video, one
There
of
it
the
goes.
choices is blur my background.
He brought it in. He brought it in there.
Yeah,
I never saw that.
There goes.
the lighting in the room's not very good.
Hmm.
So I'm backlit. Dale, you talk about RAID drives. Do you have a recommendation on a unit for a RAID drive?
Mm, kinda yes, but I'm disillusioned with the ones you can buy.
No.
Just I would say go with something from Synology or A Data. But all those, to me, those all seem they'll work if you just want to store some data on it, but they're not very fast. Not something I would buy.
That sounds like what I have. You could do 5 terabyte.
Well, for
Units.
me, what it would cost for me to buy the units, I can build something for less that'd be a lot more
Oh yeah.
powerful, a lot more versatile. So for me, it's like it's not worth it. But if you want something you can just toss on your, toss your drives in, connect it to your network and use, probably Synology is the easiest one to get into. Let's see if I can find something.
Hi, Annie.
Hello.
Yeah, you're somewhere behind that nameplate.
I'm here.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi Rex, how are you doing?
Good.
That's good.
Hi, Suzanne.
And hey Annie, how are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Hope so.
Done inventory. Happy inventory's done at work.
Brian,
Yes, sir.
membership question.
Who,
I have a niece that showed great interest in joining us. I don't know if you ever got information from her or were able to send anything to her to log on.
Was that
Kelly?
yes, I sent her an invite, but I kind of like forgot about it. I didn't get it sent till about 6 o'clock this evening.
Okay.
But I did send her an invite. Kelly Morgan, right?
Yeah, Kelly Morgan. And what I'll do is I'll just send her a little reminder
Okay.
just in the chat. I mean, in my chat. Okay. See if we can get her online here.
All right. All right, guys. While Rex is doing that, let's go ahead and get kind of get started this evening. I am at work. We had a scheduling change that had to be made, and I had to be here tonight instead of home where I wanted to be. So I'm going to be kind of out of it for about the first hour. I have to be here till 8 o'clock, and then after 8 o'clock, I'll lock everything up and be available. So I'll be quick on my side and let you guys run with the stuff that you guys need to do. I only have a couple things that I want to go over real quick, just to let you guys know. I did go ahead and get the flares all up for all the photographers' choice for the rest of the year. So they're all available. If you want to participate in photographer's choice, those are available. As well as I've scheduled all the votings to take place at the right time for the rest of the year. So that's all done. I know Marty always yells at me about that. So I'm trying, I did the whole year. So now she don't have to yell at me till next January. So yeah, I seen that, Marty. So that's taken care of. A couple of things that I just wanted to bring up. Sunday, we have a outing to Phipps. If anybody's interested in going. And I see Rebecca is drinking a glass of wine. Sorry, just happened to look right at the time you were taking a drink there, Rebecca. Anyhow, Sunday, yep. So
That's
Sunday
straight
we're
from
going
the
to Phipps.
bottle.
For a walk at the Phipps Conservatory, and from what I understand, Dennis is on the other side of the country, so he's not going to join us probably for one of the first times ever that we went to Phipps without Dennis.
Correct.
Okay, I have a question. I will not be able to make it on Sunday because I have to work, but I am off tomorrow, and I was thinking of going down to Phipps around 3 o'clock in the afternoon so I can get the lights, because they still have them up. Would anybody like to join me that can't make it on Sunday?
I would, except that I can't tomorrow either. So
Okay,
All right.
I just thought I'd put that out there.
Any show of hands of anybody that is going on Sunday or thinking of going on Sunday? 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4,
I'm up.
maybe. Okay. Go
Carol
for
and
it.
I are going to be there.
Okay, good. All right, so anyhow, that's that. I know Jim sent out the invite for that, and I think we're scheduled to meet around 9:30 at Phipps.
Yep.
Are we still required to buy tickets ahead of time? Does anybody know?
Yes,
Not required, but it's recommended.
Not required, but recommended. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. So those of you that are going, recommended that you buy your tickets ahead of time. 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning, I believe, is the time on that. What else do I have?
Brian, I'm sorry, it's in the email notification, but in case some of you did not actually read it, you are allowed to have a tripod up until 11 o'clock in the morning.
I thought that was for
11, you
members
can't
only.
use the tripod.
Members only.
Members only.
Not according to the website.
It's always been members only.
Well, it
Yeah.
doesn't
Forever.
say it. It doesn't say that online.
Okay.
Well, Jim, you want to take yours. I got you in with my membership. So if you want to take yours, you'll be safe.
Well, that's good.
Right. I mean, there's no option to get in earlier than 9:30 officially.
Mm-mm.
And maybe there's some way that, and it was a member thing in pre-COVID, that you could get in and bring a tripod if you were a member from 8:30 to 11. But
Yeah, I remember that.
maybe they've changed it back, Jim. I don't know, but I haven't seen that.
I read the paragraph over at least 3 times because I was doubtful. There's no indication it's members only.
Okay. Well, hey, it don't hurt to try. If they tell you no, it's just a short walk back out to the car.
I think once you're inside, they can't really tell if you're a member or not.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was
Yeah, it's not
probably
like they give
this-
you. It's not like they give you a ticket or a sticker at the like they do at the History Center. Like they don't know if you're a member or not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, guys. Well, hey, like I said, it's worth a try. You can take it, bring your tripods, and if they tell you you can't use them unless you're a member, then take it back. Not a big deal. But it's definitely worth the try. Okay, so that takes care of Phipps outing. We have coming up in February. Our February meeting is a famous photographer. I believe Rob is doing that. Make sure I still get a yes. It looked like looked like a yes to me. He's muted, but I still see yes. No matter what he says, I see yes.
I did say yes, so I didn't think I was muted.
All right. some February famous photographer. I'm not sure what photographer you're doing, but we're looking forward to that. That's always a good one.
Thank you.
February SWG meeting I have is I'm going to be doing masking using Lightroom. Lightroom has come up, or Adobe has come up with a whole bunch of new stuff in masking over the last 8 months or a year or whatever it is. So we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit, and I'm going to see if I can explain some of that or help you out with some of that if necessary, if you don't understand it or whatever. And we have a February outing. We're going to Lynn Run, February 25th. Our intentions there, we've done this one time several years back where we went out and spent a day out in the cold and tried to photograph some ice. We get some really cool stuff out of the ice and the water and stuff like that. So it could be 50 degrees and green leaves in February. We don't know, or it could be 50 below zero and everything frozen. So we'll kind of see what it is when we get there. But that's in February. That is
25th.
February 25th. Yes.
Thank you.
Those are all updated on the front page of the Reddit page for us. I updated everything through the 1st of March as far as meetings and events. Events. Well, meetings I have January, February, and events I have.
Moments for sharing all kinds of moments.
What's that?
No, that was DL put a link up. I'm chasing that link.
Oh, okay. So we got those up, and that is pretty much all I have to say. Anybody have anything they want me to bring up, or anything they want to bring up under news, or not news, I should say?
I do.
Okay.
Do we have a time on Lynn Run? Is it going to be 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock? What?
We don't have a time as of yet, but probably around that 10 o'clock range, I would say, would be my guess, but I'm not sure yet.
All right. Okay. And then just an update on our Greensburg Art Center show. Titles have to be into me March 25th, please, and thank you. Number 2, the drop-off will be April 16th and 17th. On the 16th, it's 10 to 3, and on the 17th, it's going to be 10 to 8. The hanging will be on the 18th of April, and I will need some volunteers, and we'll start at 10 a.m. for that. And then pickup will be June 1st. So I just wanted to let you know that. The cost for us renting the building has been anonymously paid for us. So we don't have to worry about any fee for that, which was very nice. And the title is Anything Goes. And remember, you have to have your wires on the back so we can hang them. That's all I have to say about that. And then I just want to put out a big thank you from Grace for anyone that helped support her with the Girl Scout cookies. Thank you very much.
Is that still
We still
available?
order more?
It's still, yes, until, what's today, the 24th. We have like 3 more days before I have to put the orders in, so.
I should have paid you when I saw you earlier.
I know where you live.
I think so.
She got mine right off the computer.
Yes, you can order and pay online.
All right, I'll hit you up tomorrow.
All
Or maybe
right.
tonight.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, we might need more.
I know I have a couple people that have come back and bought more.
I seen a meme the other day that I thought was great. It said that I was clean for a whole year, and then I ran into my dealer, and it was a picture of a Girl Scout.
Yeah.
Back when I was a scout, there were a couple of people on my street that I could count on them for a good 10 to 15 boxes every year. They were related to me too, but you know.
I walked out of a Walmart one time and bought every case that they had. Girls were standing there. There was a girl standing there, and she was selling cookies, and I'm like, how much for them? And she's like, oh, I think they were like $3 a box at the time. I said, no, I mean, like, how much for all of them? She said, what do you mean? I said, all of them. How much do you want for all of your cookies? I'll take them all.
I'm selling them on the black market.
I said the only thing is you have to help me take them down to my vehicle. I bought them all.
Well, that was very nice of you.
Then Brian was reselling them for double the price, right?
Yeah, I was selling them for $3.50 a box. Little profit, can't hurt them bad. Yeah. All right, guys. Anything else? Thank you, Marty.
No problem.
Okay. I assume, Jim, you have some news for us this evening?
Yeah, and before I do that, is the SWG meeting when we do the tips and tricks? And if so, are any of you planning on doing tips and tricks?
Me.
That's scheduled for Marty this evening, yes.
All right. Do you want to go first then, Marty?
Oh, I don't care.
All right, guys, I'm going to be hanging around, but I am at work, so I'm going to just mute myself. If you need me, just holler. I'll try to be paying attention.
Hey, Brian, before you take off, do I assume we want to save you for last as far as the photo edits go?
Yeah, I suppose I should have said that. Yes. So just go ahead and run through the tips and tricks, the news, go ahead into the photo edits, and I'll be back. I'll be available after 8 o'clock with no problem at all because we'll be closed by then. So, all right.
Alrighty.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'll be back.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna try to do this. Okay, share screen. Well, first I need to find it. Hold on. Let me go small and bring it up.
It just made it. You should be able to find it.
Hey, I know, but I put it somewhere else, okay? Just you be quiet. All right, share screen. There we go. All right. Can everybody see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm doing food photography, and I called Margie, and she's probably not going to make it, so too bad for her. I have a slideshow, and then I have a video that's about 5 minutes long. So because it had neater things than what I'm going to talk about. Some of the photos that you see on my slideshow are mine, and some, but I wasn't trying to do food photography at the time. So it's like either the right way or the wrong way, depending. And then the other ones are borrowed photos. So let's get started. Okay, you want to take photos under natural light. Don't use overhead lights or lamps or built-in flash. It's better to use like window light or like if you're outside under a tree or something to get indirect light from the sun. All right, and that is my photo. Also, this ice cream, you can use like mashed potatoes instead of ice cream. That way it won't melt. I had to work fast with this one. So that's another tip for you. Okay, move around to find the best light source. Don't feel like you're confined to take photos in your kitchen. You can take it anywhere where you have a nice window that you can take it through. Like I said, you can take it out in the garden, outside, where you're getting natural light. Try taking photos at different angles. Some plates of food look better from the side, like a hamburger. Others look nice from above, like a pizza, or a 45-degree angle, like drinks or like that, so you can see what's in the cup plus getting the vessel that the drink is in. These two are mine as well. This one is actually from Eaton Park. And this was one that Grace and I were making pizzas at home, so it's not real like professional. They were ones that I had, so I didn't have to like hack anybody else's photos. Minimize clutter. So like if you're taking it on the kitchen table, you don't want like other things on the table. You want to have just the food items there. And what you want, your intention is to photograph, so you don't get anything else in it. Use items such as wood skewers, toothpicks to hold the food up straight and upright when you're taking your photo. In between each, like if you're doing pancakes, you want to put a piece of cardboard under there so you don't have like these soggy, thin pancakes. You can make them look thicker by putting a piece of cardboard in there. And you want to use like the packing type box, not like a gift box, but you want the thicker. And you want to make it smaller in diameter than your pancake. That way it lifts up the middle of your pancake, and then the edges will kind of touch the other one. And that way also you don't see the cardboard. As you can see, this picture here is kind of droopy, and that one has no cardboard in it, and the one on the right has the pieces in cardboard, so it looks like a better stack for your pancakes. Let's see. On a hot summer day, you see the drinks with condensation, but it will dissipate quickly. And you know it's cold by the condensation, but so to make sure that your condensation lasts longer, you can use half water and half glycerin and give it a little spritz, like your glass or your bottle, and give it a little spritz of that mixture. And then if you want more detailed look, you can even use wax or matting spray for like that fake frosting. Also, you can use fake ice. It's not going to melt like real ice cubes, and you can put it in your drinks or put it on the table, spritz it with water. It makes it look cold. As you can see, these bottles of water look nice and cold, but it's just the condensation that makes it look cold, because in our minds, we know that a nice cold bottle of water is going to have condensation on a warm day, and it makes it look more inviting. And then the fake ice cubes, I mean, they make them look so real, and they're made out of resin or acrylic, and they're not going to melt and make your drinks look watery as well. There's lots of tricks out there. These are just some. For your fruits, vegetables, and herbs, you just want to give them a spritz often. Oh, don't mind my clock in the background, sorry. So just spray them with some water, or again, you can use that mixture of the water and the glycerin. If you're going to use the glycerin, don't eat them. I don't think they'll taste very well. Okay, for if you're shooting beer, you want that nice foamy head to last. A simple trick is adding some salt. And then you can test different salts to create different reactions, and also different types of beer will react to the salt differently, but it will make a nice head on the beer photo. Now for steaming hot photography, there's several different hacks that you can use. A tampon damp in boiling water, incense, cigarettes, electronic cigarettes, steam spritzer or a steam gun will also make it look nice. I like the one with the incense, because you can get those little like triangular ones and drop it inside, and then just have the smoke come out, and that you don't see it, and it's nicer that way. You can also use like dry ice and some water too. They had a chemical one, but I just deleted that one because I don't think we need to be messing with chemicals. So, but if you're going to use dry ice, remember, protect yourself. Gloves, tongs, eye protection, so you don't have it pop in your face.
Beth might like to use chemicals.
Well, it's not like burny type. Well, it is burny type, but like not chemical burn. Just freeze burn. If you have like a bowl of spaghetti or soup or something, and you want like toppings on your soup, but you don't want it to sink, you can always put a smaller bowl inside your big bowl before you start pouring the soup or putting your spaghetti on the plate. It gives it that lift. And then with your soup, you know, you're going to cover up that smaller bowl, you're going to put your garnish on, and it's not going to sink. So those are some tricks. There's, like I said, there's many, many more to, as far as like using fake food and making it look good, the potatoes for your ice cream, different things like that. So now we're going to go and do the video. And like I said, the video is only going to be about 5 minutes. Let me see if I can move that over to you. Yep. All right. Go big. Big. Larger.
So it's
There you go.
stories.
Can you hear it?
That's what I'm
Oh,
looking
what the
for.
heck happened? Hold on, hold on. Go back.
Artie, we're still seeing your PowerPoint presentation
Oh,
screen.
okay. Well, then you don't want to see this yet. Hold on. Let me see if I can move it back. Oh, shoot. Of course. Yeah.
I wondered if when you shared, you didn't share the screen and instead shared the app.
Well, hold on. Let me get out of this. Oh, crap. If I just... Thank you for letting me know. Oh, crud. I just moved this over from another screen, so let me see if I can minimize it. How the heck? It won't minimize. Ah, shoot. All right, hold on. There we go. Now I can minimize it. All right. Well, I don't even see it. Okay, I'm gonna come out and go back in. You know, technology, it's so much fun. And where are we? Well, isn't this lovely? Did it go away?
Nope. Oh, yeah, it did. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I stopped sharing. That's why. Let me reshare and see if I can't get this other one pulled over. If I share again, can I pull it from my other screen over?
Well, Marty, if you share your screen, there's this when you select share,
Right. It gives me all those windows.
it gives you options, and you want to do the share screen.
Right. Now I understand that, but oh, there it is. I see it. All right. Let's try to see it. Do you
Yes.
see it? Okay. All right. You can still see it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm getting better.
One of the tips I have for you is to turn off the lights when you're shooting food, and just use the light from the sun. You're not going to have any weird colors that are being casted on you from the lights in the room. So I like to shoot in rooms that are kind of dark with a big window, and that allows that natural light to spill in a really soft way, and then it creates that nice light to dark gradient. If I had a piece of cake in front of me right now, the right side of that cake, your left, would be dark, and the other side would be light, and that would create that 3D gradient that looks really, really good on food photos. If I were to shoot from here, which is kind of impossible because there's no room, but if this was a bigger room, the light would be completely flat because I can't see the shadow. But if I'm shooting on this side, the light is cascading over the top of the cake, just creating this really, really interesting light dynamic, and it just looks awesome.
You can see I have a variety of different neutral colored tiles here, and I photograph them in different ways to give it a subtle texture in the background. And these usually range anywhere from $2 to like $8, depending on how nice of a tile it is. You should remember to add little bumpers on the corners. You can use cork, foam, rubber, felt, whatever it takes. It'll help protect your table and your other tiles. And then once it feels pretty good, you flip it over and start using it. With the tiles, it's important to notice the ones that are more textured have different looks with different angles of light. So this is kind of a backlit, and you can see the textures show. And then the tile in the middle is my slate tile. If I get it wet, it gets nice and dark. And so it doesn't stay dark for very long. It dries pretty quickly, but this is a good way to get a little bit darker texture without having to buy a completely new piece of tile. These are just kind of some tips and tricks that I like to use when I photograph my tile, but the tile is an awesome way to kind of get that tabletop look without having to invest in a brand new table. Make sure to have extra food materials. So I'm making chocolate chip cookies today for my shoot. I'm going to have extra chocolate chip cookie dough in case I want to do a process shot. And I'm also going to have extra chocolate chips, extra flour, sugar, etc. in case I want to do kind of a baking setup shot, as well as I baked 16 cookies to get to a final perfect 3. So definitely overdo it. And then you can always select the best and most beautiful foods. So make sure to have extra of everything.
I've chosen this old barn door to be the background, basically because we're in the garden and I just wanted to be rustic all the way through. In terms of the color palette for this, I'm keeping it all fairly muted. There's no flashy color thing going on. This is just because I wanted it to be rustic. I know we're going to shoot in a garden, so all the earthy colors, I want that to come through. So even the bread I've chosen to be quite rustic. You also don't want to fill all the glasses full. You want to think about, you know, like it's been, well, someone's had a sip of it. So some of them you might want fuller than others, looking like you're about to dive in and enjoy yourself. I'm looking for the story because to me, just shooting it all from like here, I was wiggling on my stool. Just feels like there's just so many things going on, and that might be good. But there's also these little individual little stories, and that's what I'm kind of looking for.
So this is our workspace here. We're working on a white background, but of course you can use anything you'd like. Let's begin with our bigger elements. And for this piece in particular, it'll be our bitter melon. And, you know, just have fun with it because it's food and you're playing with food. And if you don't like how something looks, you can just move it. Next, we'll put down our lines. And I'm going to showcase the inside of the line and also the pretty vibrant green skin. Since we're working with greens and purples, I want to show all different tones of greens and purples. So now we're going to take a photo to see how everything's looking.
Okay. So there you go.
That was good, Marty. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Marty?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I never really considered, you know, all those tricks to taking photos like that and the creativity behind it.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, there's a
thanks.
lot of different tricks. That was just a portion
Yeah,
of
that's
many.
pretty cool.
Thank you, Marty.
You're welcome.
Rex, you did photography of food before, didn't you?
Who's the question for? Rex?
It's-
Oh.
Rex. I believe in the past he mentioned that he did food photography.
You're
Did you,
muted,
Rex? You have to unmute, Rex.
Yep, did it. Yes, we did. Yeah, Carol and I we had a contract with Foster's Grill. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're sprinkled through Northern Virginia, and Northern Virginia is where we did the work. I think they're in some other states too. And the thing was, I'm not saying my creativity was limited, but what I did is they gave me the product all set up the way they wanted it, and then they brought it into a background, I used a medium blue, actually it was a sky blue background. And then when we were done photographing the different products, they took them away to their graphics people, and their graphics people did all kinds of things to them that I didn't do. So I did the product, and then they took the product that I shot and they put it in all these different scenarios. So it was a combined activity to produce the work that we put out there. And we, for like ice cream, we used the real ice cream, but what we did is we set up a test target where it was going to be. We set up the lighting and everything, and so they would come running out with the ice cream, and they would put it right in that exact spot, and then I would shoot it, and then off it would go. And we did the same thing with some pastry products, different hamburgers, and sausage kielbasa. And I made my own backgrounds too, and I can probably put some on Reddit for you to look at. I think they've been up there before, but I can put them up again since this is a lot of time has passed here, and it is a subject that maybe some of you are interested in doing more seriously. So yes, I have done it, and it's fun to do. It has a lot of timing involved in it to get it done right, to get it lit right. And the background I used was simply a temporary background that would be like a chroma green, but since there was lettuce and things like that in it, we tried to minimize the colors that would be in the products, because that would mean having to work with selections in Photoshop in order to keep the areas that are green from looking like they're transparent and going through. So yes, we did. And I can put some out if you all want. Just let me know, and I'll post some so you can see the work that I did. And now the backgrounds you'll see are mine. Those are my backgrounds that I created for them.
That would be great. I'd like
Okay. I'll be sure to put some up.
Thank you, Rex. Thank you, Marty.
You're welcome.
Welcome, guys.
Okay, thanks, Marty.
Not a problem.
Marty, since Margie isn't on, do you know, does she have anybody scheduled for next month?
For what? SWG?
For tips and tricks?
Oh, yeah, no, not yet.
Okay, so any of you who want to volunteer, contact Margie for next month.
Did Brian say he was doing it?
I don't know.
Oh, Brian.
Well, contact Margie if you want to volunteer, whether it's next month or a future month.
Because I know he said he's doing SWG, but so I was assuming that's what it was. Oh, but he might be doing the meeting. Never mind. Never mind.
All righty. Okay, I'm going to do.
You can let me know either also, because Margie's been under the weather a little bit. So even if you just let me know, that would be great.
All right. Thanks, Marty.
Yep.
So I'm going to go into in the news here. Okay, can you see Petapixel in the On Sensor AI?
Yes.
All right, good. So this is nothing that's currently available, but it's being worked on by Samsung and this other South Korean company, SK Hynix. This is for smartphones as opposed to cameras, but I'm sure eventually anything that's built into a smartphone, you're probably going to have built into your future camera as well. After reading the article, whoever wrote it, they weren't clear either on what the advantage of this is. But from a technology standpoint, the concept was to have the sensor in the smartphone camera, and then but combined with the artificial intelligence chip that allows your smartphone to do all kinds of cool things, to combine it into one device. And other than saving space, they think maybe they eventually can increase the amount of features that the smartphone can do with your photos. And it also apparently they're in concert with this going to larger sensor sizes as well. So I'm not even sure why I put this in because it's not available yet, but they're talking about doing it. And I just thought I'd mention it. So later in today's meeting, Beth is going to do a photo edit using her On1 Photo Raw software that she's been using for, I think, several years now. One of its features is a tab that's called On1 Effects, and I'll let Beth discuss that as far as the different filters that are available. But this came out, just got an email just the other day. On1 is offering last year's version of On1 Effects. It's a software plugin that you could use in either Photoshop or Lightroom or any other software post-processing package that you're using. They're offering it for free. And it's normally a $70 price. And I think the reason it's free probably, and it's free because it's last year's software, is probably just to get more people to try it, see if they like it, and perhaps actually buy the current version of it. So anyway, I thought I'd mention that to you. And I'm going to go through actually 3 different tabs on photos. So there wasn't a whole lot of technical information that I came across this last month. So these are, quote, close-up photographer of the year contest. And in some cases, they're not as close as I thought they would be to be considered a close-up photo, but nevertheless, they're kind of cool. When I first saw this, I couldn't quite, I mean, obviously there's a bird and there's the trees, but when you look at it, somehow they manage, these are all tree trunks coming around here, darkened out and going up into the sky, which I thought was kind of cool. So it has a really unique look to it. WrestleMania 3. That's pretty cute. You know, it's funny. I never really thought about this before. I have no problem with this little brush or whatever in here, but you know, we talk a lot when we do the photo critiques about patrolling the edges and distractions and whatnot. In this photo would probably be just as good without that there. It adds a little bit of the lizards are out in the desert fighting and there's stuff around. So I thought that was interesting that even with what some might consider a distraction, it still was an award-winning photo. I don't know if you could use AI technology to come up with that composition any better.
That's cool.
That's amazing. This one's different. I don't don't know if this one's X-rated or not. I can't tell. Something tells me maybe. I don't think, Marty, could we use this in our show at the Greensburg Arts Center?
Sure, why not?
All right. I have no idea, and it doesn't really describe in the text how this image was created. Dragonfly, but the split down the middle and the orange circles, it looks cool.
Okay. This looks like a spider's legs on the top.
Yeah.
You know what? I have to jump in here. This reminds me of one of Linda Kim's pictures that she put up. Except that this one looks like it's turned vertically upward. The one she had was at the end of a arm of a limb of tree or something aimed downward. Very similar. Linda, if you're on, maybe comment.
Yeah, I have no idea how they could have done that, but it's pretty neat.
The background of this photo just amazes me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just beautiful.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that one's nice too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the lighting on those tiny mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is human made. It says asymmetrical threads. So I don't know where this person found this arrangement, but that's pretty cool. That looks more like a painting.
Looks like a watercolor.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Wood ants firing acid secretion. Hope they had goggles on when they took that.
Wow.
Mosquito egg raft. Never seen that before. That's interesting. The beetle apparently chewed the holes in the circle.
That's neat.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I love those colors.
That's a potential photo at Lynn Run next month.
Yep, maybe.
That's pretty neat.
That's cool too.
All these entries get an A+ for creativity. That's just amazing looking.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's ice, frost, whatever.
Yeah. Sorcerer's Apprentice. Source words. Okay.
He's cute.
Jumping stick.
Jumping stick.
Wow.
Hi, Reedy.
He's cool.
Orange isopod.
These are all just, I find these fascinating. It's
Fiddler crab. Huh?
Fiddler crab. Come a little too close. I'm going to get you with that thing.
But think how many this person had to snap off, maybe hundreds of photos in front of that thing to get that particular composition.
Yeah.
Because those fiddler crabs don't hang around very long.
No.
No.
I mean, they're super fast.
They're like, burp. They're gone.
He might have used the Brian Cooler technique.
Chill them out for a little bit.
Good point, Rex.
Okay.
Beach glass micro.
Beach glass micro.
Oh, I'd like to see some of that beach glass.
That's pretty cool.
Protozoa.
Well, it says amoeba. I'm not sure technically what the difference is between an amoeba and a protozoa, but
Well, the amoeba I think is one cell.
Yeah.
And I think protozoas sometimes are more than one.
Yep.
okay.
Which is where the proto comes from, I guess. As a matter of fact, looking back, that's a pretty shaped up amoeba because amoebas are usually a totally unfigurable. It never stays in a given shape for very long.
You remember the term?
They go all over the
The
place.
term is pleomorphic.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, Rob,
Like that.
thank you.
There you go.
Don't ask me to spell it.
There's a nice reflection photo.
They're definitely beautiful. I love that pink and purple and delicate, really delicate. Nature, something alive but beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Old agave.
Looks
Well,
like-
I believe there's agave at Phipps, so maybe there's a shot there. And I assume that's intentional camera movement, but I don't really know.
Maybe a soft focus.
Yeah. Beth, could your lens baby do something like that?
Yeah, probably. Although it does kind of look like there's some movement because you see a couple of edges that just look like they're repeated. And the orange in the
like
left
here.
that kind of goes down through. Yeah.
Yeah. So left right music movement.
Nature can be amazing.
Yep. Oh, that's neat.
Mhm.
Juvenile, more are you?
Little fishy.
You get fishy.
Okay, we spent a lot of time on that. I'm going to go on here. I'm going to skip this next one and go to this one. So I don't know if this fella is a famous photographer, a popular photographer. Phil Penman is his name, but there's a number of photos, black and white, I think they're all black and white, taken in New York. And I just thought some of the compositions were really, really nice.
Yeah, I just started following him on Instagram because of this article. His work is pretty incredible.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, you
Yeah,
saw the
I saw
article.
this article.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's a subway or a bus, but
Probably the boat going over. don't
oh,
you
it could
think?
be a ferry. Yeah.
Yeah, probably the ferry.
Yeah.
It looks like it's moving. It's a little blurry, and you'd have to have a if you were on a boat, you'd have to have a longer lens to get the Statue of Liberty to look that big. So it has to be on the boat.
Yeah.
I really like that one. Looks like they've been taken in the 50s or any time, doesn't it? I mean, it's kind of a timeless shot.
Yeah, that photo could have been taken in 1930 and you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It kind of has an ageless feel.
Yeah, it's really cool from that perspective alone, let alone the composition.
Well, the location is pretty definite. It's Radio City Music Hall.
Right.
You can see that.
He's very dapper.
He looks like maybe belonged in the 1930s.
Yeah, it looks like guys.
You got to Photoshop the girl out behind him though, and then he looks like he's right out of the 30s.
Yeah, you're right. So I just you mentioned the girl and she didn't bother me at all, but I really didn't notice this person here. And I got to admit, if it was my photo, I would have cropped in and eliminated this person here. I don't know if that, I think with street photography, you don't really care a whole lot as much as you would maybe a non-street photo, but that to me is distracting.
I agree with you, Jim. I would have cropped that too. It's an easy crop.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything. It doesn't take anything out of the picture that ruins.
Yeah, I don't think well, and it doesn't add anything to the photo.
No, certainly not.
Either that or waited another minute or so for her to get out of the picture.
You know, if you take a look at the lines of the sidewalk and the angle of the lines, and then you look at her height and his height and the difference in their height between the top of her head to the top of his and the bottom of her feet to the bottom of his, and that line, I'd say that he had something going on there. I think there's always a sense of mystery. You don't want people to say, "Oh, I know what that is." You kind of have to figure things out. What is it that you like about it? What is it that you thought that person might see? What I was looking at was the geometry. Also, look at the 4 circular, maybe clocks or whatever they are overhead. There's a story of geometry going on here, despite another story with the expressions and the pose and whatever that brings. So, there's a lot going on in this photograph to study.
I think that's cool. A lot of Flatiron building.
Yeah. In a snowstorm. I like this one. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's incredible. Timing on that.
What a piece of framing that is.
Yeah.
And how long would you have to waited there to even think to get something like that?
Yeah, it's not like that car's just sitting there either.
No,
well,
it's
the car's
moving.
moving. You can see the guy's blurred in it, but the guy's sharp. So you think it's photoshopped?
It's phenomenal. talked about one of the previous photos being ageless. That could have been immediately after the building. I don't know if it's the Brooklyn Bridge or which one it is, but
That's not the Brooklyn Bridge.
it's not.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Bob DeJesus, you lived in New York for a while. Any idea what bridge that is? If you're talking, Bob, you're muted. Or maybe he left.
Is there any metadata information on that? Anything at all to give it away?
No. Well, I mean, only if you were familiar with the area.
No. I mean the text below the picture.
No.
Oh, okay.
This one's a kind of a silly one, but it's funny. It's amusing.
I like the guy in the background looking at him.
Mm-hmm. Well, going back to Rex's observations of the previous photo, nuts for nuts.
Yep.
That's always a story.
Remember this taken.
It's like multiple reflections. She's looking into the window. It looks like he's looking the other way, but there's two of him.
So where was the picture taken? That's the question I have. What do you think?
What's that, Rob?
Where was the picture taken from?
I have no idea.
Very high up.
Yeah, I know, but what building is as high as the statue of the Empire State Building? That's the Empire State Building there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chrysler Building's not that high. And it looks, it would be something from Southern Manhattan, like the New World Trade Center. That'd be pretty far away. So I don't know, where'd they take that?
Did it say underneath in the caption?
No.
No.
And I guess that's him. Anyway, I thought those were pretty cool photos. Okay, one more item. I've been avoiding the last few months comments on AI images and the whole thing, but this one is a little bit of an about-face, and we've talked about several times before about in US courts, at least so far, that they've been finding that AI-generated images cannot get copyright status. Here's one in Beijing. I'll call him an artist, created these images using AI. Someone downloaded them from somewhere in China and began using them for another purpose. And the original artist filed suit against that. And the Beijing court awarded copyright status and a very minimal fine, but nevertheless fined the person who had used the AI image. So, who knows whether something similar to that could occur here in the United States as well. And the court terminology that they use, I thought there was some interesting comments here that was taken out of the judgment. The court also decided that Mr. Lee was the author. So he was considered the author of the AI-generated image, not the application, if you will, that was used to actually do the generation of the image itself. And that Lee had provided significant input into the picture and added his own personal expression. Such as designing the presentation of the characters, selecting prompt words, arranging the order of prompt words, blah, 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 blah. So, and when you look at it from that angle, you could say, well, maybe it should be copyrighted. So, big gray area. Okay, that's it for in the news.
Hey, Jim, you were talking about AI and the telephones. Swarovski came up with some birding binoculars, and you can identify like 9,000 birds with them in their database right now, and they're available. They're over $4,000.
You know what? I did see that, Linda. I didn't include it here, but I did see the article. Yeah. I think I probably didn't include it because it was so expensive that I didn't think anybody, I hate to say in their right mind, but would spend that much for it.
You would
But
be
that is pretty cool.
surprised. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised at what people spend on the binoculars. I mean, the regular ones are $3,500. So
Well,
I see
my
people
IDs
with
are
them.
delayed. I take the photo and stick it into Google or another app that I have and let it identify the bird, plant, or flower, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
But yeah, I did see it. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Okay. Beth, I need a break from talking, so I hope you're willing to go first as far as the photo editing.
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay, thank you. Stop my share. So when we had the officers meeting back sometime around Christmas, I forget exactly when, just to plan out the first 3 months of the year, I think this one was a recommendation from one of you, one of our members in the survey that Brian had sent out late last year. And so the concept was we've been doing lots of photo critiques and we'll continue to do photo critiques, but that we don't typically actually show people doing their photo editing. And so Brian and Beth and I volunteered to do that tonight. And it just so happens that all three of us use different post-processing software. Of course, you're going to immediately see the similarities. I don't think there's anything significantly different between the three of them. There are subtle differences, but nothing outstanding. But anyway, so the main purpose is to show photo editing as it's being done, with the secondary of seeing three different programs in action, if you will. So Beth is going to start off with On1 Photo Raw.
Okay, are you seeing, and you're going to be looking up my nose if you're looking at me, because I have to look up to see my other screen to see what I'm doing. But do you see my mouse going around? And
yes,
we did.
Yeah, we see the contact sheet, so to speak.
Yeah. These are, let's see, I'll back out to the
request something. Can you expand yours to full screen just so there's a little more to see?
Or drag the side over, just drag over one side.
Yeah. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, this is all the stuff that I shot in 2023. And it's not. Why is it not scrolling? There it is. Okay, so any of these are, the way that I do it, I just put all of the folders from the camera into that year so that I at least have them arranged by date. And my camera numbers everything based on the date. So everything in this folder right here was shot on January 2nd. So, and like, this must have been a trip to Phipps on January 22nd. And I was messing around with trying to scan film, which didn't really work as well as I wanted it to on a couple other days. But when I go into the folder, this is everything that I shot that day. I don't delete anything. I don't cull anything. I go through initially and I'll mark with a star which ones I think I might do something with. If something gets 2 stars, then it's probably something I'm definitely going to do something with. And so going through these, I found that this one I double starred, but I haven't done anything with. So this is the one I'm going to show you tonight. And if you can see up here on the right, I don't know if I'll move that out of the way. Actually, I can move that to the other screen. Up here on the right, it tells me what focal length I was at. And this means to me that it was a lens baby because they don't communicate anything. So it thinks that there's no lens. And all of this it gets from the camera. So I know that this was shot with my Velvet 28. And in Photo Raw, and this is the 2024 version, which I am so far finding is wicked buggy compared to previous years. Whereas I know Jim had issues with it and he was on Windows and I had no issues on Mac. And I think this year it's the opposite. But you click on edit and then they've added this Brilliance AI that you can, if you turn it on, it'll show you what it thinks might be kind of cool. I have yet to actually stick with it and use it. I usually just go straight to tone and color, and I will sometimes tweak exposures because with Lens Baby, because I don't meter through the lens, I'm usually just kind of guessing when I expose. So I do end up having to do some tweaking. And I'll do a fair amount of, I'll just drag the slider back and forth and see what different things it might change. And those little flowers right in the middle, I'm liking what they do when I bump the highlights up. So I'm actually going to do that for once. Kind of bringing midtones down a little. I'm going for sort of a, I don't know, kind of soft, muted, nothing super poppy with this one.
Ethereal? Maybe like an ethereal?
Ethereal?
Yeah.
Sorta. It was kind of that sort of a day. This was at Mammoth. And Nate and I were up there. He wanted to go down the slide. So the shots of the grass early on were the things that I was photographing while he was going down the slide.
Mm.
The whites I'm going to bring down a little so that I still get like a little bit of pop in these and some more texture because of bumping the highlights, but bringing down the whites kind of brings it down just a little bit at a time. I can get a little bit of pop out of it by bumping the blacks down without really losing detail. Structure is one that when I shoot with a Lens Baby, a lot of the time what I'll end up doing is I'll use the local tab and I'll go in. I won't do it on this one just because I don't think it would really fit, but I'll select a little area like this and maybe this one here and here, and I'll bump the structure all the way up in that spot. And then I'll copy the mask and invert it, and I'll take the structure all the way down on the rest of it. And that kind of, it enhances the Lens Baby selective focus kind of look. Because this, if you look at the background, it doesn't really do that much, even when I take the structure all the way down. And it's kind of the same as clarity, but not quite. But when I edit, I'm looking at it. My second monitor is like, I don't know, 27-inch, I think. So I'm looking at it at a decent size. And I just put things where they look right to me. Temperature is one that I have, because it's color. If I mess with it too much, that's when I start to just turn everything into black and white. And then the effects tab is one that I use a fair amount. You've got all these different categories, and if you hover over it, it'll show you on the right what type of things it does. And the one that I use the most is textures. But there's lots, there's filters. You can do like kind of cross-process type stuff. The glow one is actually really good for landscapes. And even on regular shots, not just Lens Baby. I do use the vignette a fair amount, and I might end up adding one on this one. But I'm going to use textures. And in categories, I have one category in here that's mine. These are all ones that I've created, and you can see all of these. If you hover over it, it'll temporarily put it on there so you can see what it is. This one is from a jelly plate pull that I did that I kind of like. That's paint on canvas. Actually, I think it's alcohol paint or something, I'm not sure. This is one that gets used a lot. This is actually from out by our pool. These are jelly plate pulls. And I blurred a picture of a leather book cover. And that's that one, and that's the unblurred version. And so the blurred version actually works pretty cool. I've even got...
Beth, I have a question.
Yeah.
Beth, now the background appears completely behind the first picture, or does it overlap? If you look close, does it overlap some of it? Or is it just the mask that you put on the forward pieces that are independent of the background that the secondary background that you're putting in?
The texture layer is sort of integrated with it at the moment, just because of the blending option is set at normal. You can still mess with how it blends by using the different blending options. And those are the same as the ones in Photoshop, as far as I know.
Okay.
Because it's, at the moment, there's no masking done. It's just the little twigs and stuff that are in the background. There's less contrast between them and, I don't know if it was the pond behind them or sky or what.
Okay, I think what I was worrying, wondering about was, say, for example, if you took the largest flower right near the middle of the picture, that if you were to take the background and say darken it way down, would it have an effect on that flower unless it was masked off?
Unless you mask it off, it'll do whatever the rest of it.
It will have an effect on the flower.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
You do have, this is the masking bug.
I see.
So I can still mask off. Like I mean, this is a sloppy mask, so you can
Sure, I get that. I get that.
Edges are. So you can tell that that's...
What's interesting is if you were in, say, Lightroom and you had the sharp parts of the plant and you had the very soft parts of the plant and you had this very plain kind of background, non-competitive background, and you said mask mask subject. What it would do, I would think, would probably try to mask the entire plant. See what I'm getting at?
Yeah,
I don't know how good it would do.
this will do AI masking.
Mhm.
And I don't. I do, I would say sometimes I'll play around with something like that. But with anything like this where it's tiny little details that I'm going to either want to mask or not want to mask, I'll do it myself. I don't let it do the choosing.
Yeah, I just wanted to get an idea of the nature of how the alternating backgrounds affect the original.
Yeah. And everything in On1 is like with Lightroom. Now I can't remember the term, but you're not affecting the what? Non-destructive. Yeah, you're not affecting the actual photo. Everything's saved in a sidecar.
Yeah, it can always back out of whatever you've done to it.
Yeah. All right. So I added a vignette, which I'm going to leave it strong, but you've got a lot of, you can really mess with how much it does, where it goes, how round it is. You can do a square one, whatever you want. You can fit it to the canvas or you can move it around. So then, and they added, used to be that the masking would just pop up like within the thing that you were doing it in. And now it pops off to the side. So I'm always having to move it because it's always in the way, no matter where it goes. But so say I decide this is the one that I'm going to save for something. Then I come down here to export. And I'll give it, I always title stuff, at least initially, based on the whatever the original file name is. And then that next little section stands for Lens Baby Velvet 28, so that I know what lens it is. And the small is because I'm resizing it to a maximum height of 1200, which will let whatever the width is will stay the right ratio as it is here, but the height will only be 1200 pixels because that's the maximum height for Stony Brook. But there's another competition that will be coming up that we here can submit stuff to. And the top for that, I think, is 1080. But I've found in saving stuff for Stony Brook that if I do it with a height of 1200, that nothing is ever too wide as long as it's not taller than that. Whereas 1080 is, I think, going to be a little closer to that. You can choose which folder you want to put it in. And this one, I'm going to have to put it back in 23 because that's what it's from. And then I click export. And then I will also usually save one because I didn't used to do this. And then I lost a hard drive. Don't yell at me, DL. And so I only had small edited versions of a lot of things. I still had all the raw files, but I didn't have my big enough to print versions. So I just go in and turn off the resize and rename with full at the end, and then click export. And then there's this, you can either just go back out to browse, which is up here, or you can click the little, the done thing, which saves everything and bounces you back. But if you just go back to browse, it bounces you back anyway. And these are, just so you know what they are, these are all presets that come with it. So you can like hover over something and it'll show you what it would do if you chose that preset. Most of these I've never even used. But you can, these are supposedly based on types of film stock. And it'll show you with all of the edits that you've already done, what would the preset do. I think that's mostly it. There's other things that you can do within On1 that I don't usually do. You can add borders to things. That's within effects. Let's see where there's all sorts of different like fake emulsion, stuff like that. You can make your own. And if you want to not use a certain thing that you've added in effects, you just click the X and it disappears. Any questions on one?
No, thank you for the ones that I asked about.
And this little symbol shows you whether you've made edits, and it previews what it looks like. If you want to do you can make a version in case you want to do other things, and you just have to, you right click, choose the create version, and then another one will show up right next to it. And then you can take that and do more. Okay, so that's basically it.
Thanks, Beth.
Thanks, Beth.
Nicely done.
Okay. Share the screen again. Okay, I assume you can see my Capture1 screen here. Somebody say yes.
Yes, I can see it. It looks good. Looks good. Full size.
Thank you. So Beth had kind of already alluded to this. When I joined the club in 2016, the camera I had was JPEG only. There was no such thing as a RAW file. I had no idea what post-processing was except for cropping photos in Photoshop Elements. And then the club introduced me to Lightroom, and I did get a perpetual license for Lightroom. And then within a couple of years or so, Lightroom and Photoshop switched to the subscription model, which for whatever reason I was opposed to. So as Beth said, I switched to On1 Photo Raw back then. And as Beth demonstrated, it's an awesome program. And I liken it as it's just as good as Lightroom from what all of you are used to using for Lightroom for, but then it adds features of Photoshop to take it several steps beyond what you could do in Lightroom without having to go into Photoshop. So it truly is a good program. As Beth indicated, I was having bugs. I could have continued to use it, but it just became annoying. And then at the same time, I won't go into the reason why, but Fuji, their sensors are different than the sensors in your cameras. They have a different pixel arrangement as far as the red, green, and blue. And as a result, people like, or companies like Lightroom have to treat the Fuji RAW files differently than they would from Nikon or Canon or any other camera manufacturer. And there was an issue with Fuji photos in Lightroom, and I can't say it was true so much in On1 Photo RAW, that you would get what they called worms, depending on how you post-processed the photo. So I had heard about Capture1 being well suited for Fuji files. So that coupled with my bugs in On1, I switched to Capture1 then probably 4 or 5 years ago now, and I've been using it since. It started out as both subscription and perpetual license. And about 2 years ago, they did away with the perpetual license. So I am now on an annual subscription with Capture1. So I'm pleased with the program. So I'm going to get to editing a photo, but I thought I would just take a second to show some aspects of Capture1 that, since I haven't been in Lightroom for a while, and although I use On1 occasionally to fancy up a photo, I'm not aware of all of their features. So I'm going to show you ones that I think don't exist in Lightroom, but they may very well exist now, and I'm just not aware of it. So if I screw up here, you can tell me so. So one of the ones I wanted to show you is, so I don't do a whole lot of portrait work. This is one of my grandsons, Griffin here, and his cheeks are a little bit on the rosy side. And so one of Capture1's tools is, I got to get you people out of here. Hold on here. I'm not sure if you can see yourselves, but how do I minimize? No, just get it out of here. I'll bring it over here for now. So in the color tab here, there is this skin tone tool. There's a basic color editor. You've probably seen this in Lightroom, obviously. And there's an advanced color editor, which you have similar now in Lightroom, I'm pretty sure. But there's a skin tone tool. And what's interesting is I get this picker and I basically tell Capture1 that I want to change Griffin's skin tones to be more uniform than what they currently are. So I'll pick somewhere down there where it's not quite as rosy, if you will. And then what you can do is you can adjust the overall skin tones, the hue, the saturation, and lightness. But what's interesting about the tool is this uniformity. So starts out at 0, and there's his rosy cheek, but I picked this spot down here. So I can basically change all of his skin to more closely match. I'm going to pick up the saturation. I can take the brightness of it. And now I wouldn't do this to him, but basically for the sake of you seeing it, I eliminated his rosy cheeks with just a couple of clicks. Now, this is nice to do with portraits, but what's interesting is I've also used it if you have a sky and the blues are inconsistent across the frame. You could do the same thing. You could go over to your blue sky and pick, in fact, actually, hold on here. Let me do this one. Okay. So here's the case. Now, there's nothing wrong. I wouldn't do this, but just to show you. So here's the blue sky. It's darker above, and it kind of comes down to the horizon and lightens up, which is not unusual. But if I go ahead and decide I want all of the sky to be basically, oops, I didn't bring the cursor over here. I didn't need to do that a whole lot. Okay, so I've got it selected. And now, again, I'll just do the same thing. I'll pull the hue up, and it should take all the blues that are inside this cone. If I don't think it's capturing everything, I can extend it out. but I can basically make the hues so they're all the same, take the saturation up, and take the brightness level up. Now, I didn't mask this out, so you can see it's doing it to the ocean as well. But what it attempted to do was to match the sky to more closely resemble the point that I picked in the photo. So that's an interesting tool, if you will, that I do occasionally use. The other thing that I wanted to show, which is helpful for calling images. So let's see here. My one grandson, Colin, ran cross country this last year at Deer Lake, so I was taking photos. And so for culling purposes, and you can do this after the photos are imported, or you can do it as you're bringing the photos in. So there's two features here. One you can see across here is face focus. And it basically gives you close-ups of any people that happen to be in the shot, and kind of more easily, without having to zoom into the photo, see who's in focus and who isn't in focus. But what I wanted to show you first was the culling. Actually, I'm going to go back. Excuse me, because these are all the same photo, or basically the same type of photo. I actually want to select all of these and go back to cull. Now what it's done, it's taken that whole series of photos and it's grouped them into subgroups. So there just happened to be one photo of Griffin there. There's one photo of this building front. There's one photo of this ocean cliff scene. There's 7 photos of Colin and the cross country. And then there's a cliff face here that I took at Hawking Hills. They're going to show a different feature of, but there's 4 of those. And then there's the one of the barn that's the photo I'm actually going to edit. But it's nice because you can go, since it's joining these photos together, you can go through any group you want, and here they are, and basically just scroll through them to do your star rating, however you want to rank them. And in addition, having the details on the faces to see whether they're in focus or not. So that's kind of a cool feature for culling photos. The next one. So I don't know if Rebecca is our only member that is anyway currently doing wedding photography or not, but Rebecca, you might be interested in this feature. So let me go to edit here. So there's something called smart adjustments. And what it does is you select, and it only works with people photos. It won't work with landscapes. It's based on looking at a person's face or people's faces and you selecting a base photo. So I'm selecting this first one here just at random. And what I want to do is I want to transfer the white balance on this photo and the exposure of that photo so that this whole group of photos literally match in terms of white balance and exposure. It's not just copying the current white balance from this and the current exposure value of this and applying it to these. It's actually individually analyzing them so that all of them will look the same. Now, you're not going to really see much here because of the photos were all taken from the same spot, the same lighting. There's probably very, very little difference between these. But if you were at a wedding shoot or some other shoot with people in different lighting conditions, it basically allows you to provide a very neutral white balance and exposure, or a consistent white balance and exposure to all the photos that you've selected. So this one's selected. I'm going to set that one as the reference photo. And then I'm just going to select all the other photos and I'm going to apply that to all the photos. And again, and you're not going to see a big difference. You're going to have to trust me, though, that it made subtle differences in what I can show. Hold on here. Okay, so there was the reference photo. If I switch over to this one, you'll see that it went to a custom white balance. And so it basically was trying to match the white balance between this reference photo and this photo. And it also, this photo was already changed. So the exposure, you would have to start from 0, if you will, or the original exposures. But
it doesn't, excuse me, it doesn't override what you had done to photo number 2, 3, and 4.
Do you know what, Rex? Hold on here for a second, because that's a good question. Let me go back and check here. Okay, so this second photo had an exposure of plus 28 and a white balance of 49.18, if you can remember that. And now I'll just select those two and apply. And it slightly changed the white balance to 49.11, and it just took the exposure up by 1 tick. It went from 0.28 to 0.29.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have done similar subtle adjustments to that entire set of selected photos. So Rebecca, I would think that something like that might be useful in your wedding photography.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did actually finally retire from weddings. Last year was my 26th and final season. But
oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. Right?
I can tell you.
However, I still do a lot of event coverage for like Duquesne University and a couple other clients of mine. So that's actually really interesting because it's not like in Lightroom, which is copy and paste what I did. This actually almost analyzes each image almost intelligently. This is really interesting how it does that.
It's if you go and Capture1's website, you probably actually on YouTube, Capture1 YouTube videos, they have some demonstrations where they'll have a group of photos. It was models out in the sunlight somewhere, and some in the shade and different locations. And it's amazing where they looked like they were taken at 6 different locations at 6 different times. All of a sudden, they all look like they were taken at the same time, same location.
That's a great feature. I like that a lot.
So here's something else. What do I do here? So there's a focus mask tool up here. And what it does is it just puts this red outline on parts of the photo that it's pretty sure is in focus. So in this case, I took 3 consecutive photos at Hocking Hills, and I couldn't tell you why, because they're pretty much the same photo. At the time, I couldn't tell you what I was doing, but it makes life easy when I get back and I'm culling photos, because I can put the focus on and see, okay, this first one looks pretty good. This second one, the cliff face, it's not quite as in focus, if you will. And the foreground leaves are not in focus. So somehow it got some intermediate focus in here. And if I go to the third one, my cliff face is in focus, my foreground leaves are in focus. So without doing a whole lot of work, I know that's the photo that I want to edit, and I'll ditch the other 2 photos. So that's kind of cool. Okay. Rex, I know you've done keystoning before for us. And I know you have tools both in, well, I know you have in Lightroom, and I assume it's available in Photoshop, where you can do keystoning, straighten out lines both horizontally and vertically.
Yes. And
you can move things back and forth, if you will. So here's my original photo.
Wow.
Now, this was a Somerset photo walk. I swear I wasn't drinking that morning. This was pretty crooked to begin with. And like most building photos, it's tilted back. You can see kind of the converging lines, the whole bit. Typical architectural photo. So, so here's my Keystone tool. I can do it manually. I got that moved over. Huh. Oh, I'm sorry, what's going the wrong way. So I can do it manually, do vertical, move it all over, horizontal, skew. I can do all kinds of things with it. But what's nice is it came out with auto function. So it can do auto verticals. We'll just start with verticals. Okay, for some reason, it thinks the verticals are okay. Oh, no, it just took a while. So there it's straightened up my verticals. I'm going to reset it. And now I'll go ahead and switch to horizontals and automate that. So it's thinking for a while. Whoop, don't like that there. It's taking longer than normal to do this. I'm not sure why it's thinking so much. It's taking a real long time. Okay, I hope I didn't freeze this up.
No, it might be, you know, you're not just doing it on your computer. Your computer is also on a Zoom session, and you're on your Wi-Fi system.
No,
you know, it's there's a lot going on beyond the software.
Right. So it would have straightened the horizontal lines, but what's nice is there's the both horizontal and vertical in auto. And I think it's thinking about it. But since it's taking so long, what I'm going to do is just, no, it is, I think I'm freezing up here. Okay, bad demonstration. I have officially froze. So if you can see the the final version of the photo, it basically straightened up the horizontals and verticals and brought the building forward, just doing it automatically. So I'm going to have to close out of this and open back up, it looks like.
I was wondering if you do that, unshare the screen and then bring it back. And
that may be what I need to do. I am completely froze. It did not like what I was doing. Okay, this might be the end of my presentation for tonight. Brian, are you back?
Oh yeah, I've been here. I thank you, Beth and Jim, both of you guys' presentations. Marty, I'm sorry I missed yours, but I'll go back and watch it on the recording. I actually remembered to record the video tonight. So appreciate you guys. It is 4 minutes till 9. I would assume that does not give me enough time to do my presentation. Thank you.
Sorry, Brian.
I was actually thanking you. I wasn't being appreciate it. Thank you very much. But what I will do is I think that I can work mine into the next meeting, into the WPS meeting. Rob, about how long do you need? Do you know when you do your thing? About an hour? Rob's talking to his computer again.
I'm not as fast on the click as I thought on the mouse click as I thought I was. Yeah, I can go probably 45 minutes to an hour. I can.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll work my live edit into the WPS, the first part of the WPS meeting before Rob does his presentation for our regular meeting in February, because I do want to do mine. I was pretty well actually prepared for it tonight, so we'll do that at the February meeting if that's okay with you guys.
Yep,
Rather
that's
than me
fine.
trying to rush it or try to keep everyone for another 20 minutes. So, but thank you everyone that participated, and thanks for the news, and thanks for the tips and tricks and everything. I think that's about all I have, other than I'll see some of you guys on Sunday at the Pips Conservatory. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I haven't been down there for a while. I was just looking through some photos tonight, and I think the last time I was at Phipps was well, January 22nd of 23. So about a year ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I haven't been down there for a while, so I will see you guys there. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up before we finish up?
Oh, good.
Nope. All right. All right, guys. Well, I guess we can finish up and I can go home instead of sitting here at my office at work where I spend way too much time anyhow.
Mhm.
And we'll call it an evening. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys all soon.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.